have any input on that? Like, that's actually not a good idea. That's a bad idea. That's.
I mean, okay. So first off, everyone learns their own way, and I think that if you can teach yourself, you should spend some time teaching yourself. Um, I think that having another person there to um, help you recognize what you're doing and what you need to do better, I think is invaluable. I think I had a couple of really good guitar teachers coming up who were fantastic. I have Trevor, who every once in a while I'm like, hey, I'll pay you for a few lessons. Just I want you to show me some stuff. And he goes, all right, cool. And just having him there to like do this, this, and this, and then I'm like, all right. And I'm probably a pretty easy student for him because I have a large musical foundation. I can be like, okay, I get what you're saying. He doesn't have to dumb anything down for me. He doesn't have to. That's a terrible term, dumb. He doesn't have to make anything simple for me to catch on. I would encourage everyone to do both at the same time if they can. You should finding someone who can teach you. And the other thing about teachers is finding the right teacher, which at times is going to be harder than even just. It's always even harder than finding teachers. There's 1,000 guitar teachers everywhere. Finding that person who teaches you the way you want to be taught, the way that you can learn, is a chore. Like, and like unless you get really lucky, it is probably I think it might be one of the things that prevents a lot of people from learning is they go to a guitar teacher and the guy or woman hands them a group of scales and maybe one or two songs, and it has nothing to do with why they want to play guitar, or it doesn't speak to them. So and the next step of trying to find a different guitar teacher to may teach differently, that from finding the first teacher to finding the second teacher is a huge step of effort that most people would be rather just, it's easier to put the guitar back up on the wall or in the case and move on with their life.
That's unfortunate.
And like, when you're in university, oftentimes you have opportunities to learn with multiple teachers. Like we had several guitar professors in the classical guitar. We had several composition professors that you could learn from. You also had classes so that you could go, like I had composition classes with multiple composition professors. And it was very easy to figure out that was the guy who was going to teach me well. Like he teaches in a way that I know I'm going to learn from him, which in my case is usually strangely mean and aggressive. Like I like teachers who can get in my face and tell me what I need to do better. Whether it's martial arts, whether it's music, whether it's how to do a job. I need someone who can just confront me with what I need to know and say, you need to do this, you do this, you do this. And if you don't do those things, you're not going to get there. Like that's what I need. Some people need a softer hand than that. Some people want a more gentle. And so in a university environment, it's really easy to find the person who can hopefully in that staff who's going to teach you the way you need to be taught. In your private life, you got to pay this person $25 to $40 an hour. And then the idea that I didn't like that guy, so I have to go find someone else is like, that's a huge hurdle. Like, cause it sucks. Cause like, that's just, now you're doing work just to do the work. And that, I think that affects a lot of people adversely in learning music. If they can pick up, if they can get an instrument and go on YouTube and just pick up a few lessons on YouTube, I think YouTube's a wonderful resource for beginners, for more advanced students. Just because every once in a while, I'm like, I gotta learn a song, and I don't want to like spend an hour listening to it. I can just go teach me how to play the song, and they'll teach me real fast, and then I can go listen to the song and put them together. Phenomenal, like resource. And so if you can just learn to play a few songs on your own, get a few, or not even a few songs, but if you can just learn a couple chords and maybe a few licks, and then go to a teacher with a little bit more of a base, that I think that's definitely valuable. I think if you have a friend who can just show you a few things, that's great. My problem is always people are always like, "Can you teach me guitar?" And I'm like, I don't want to teach you guitar. Like I am the worst good music teacher. I love being a martial arts teacher. I hate being a music teacher. Like I am an awful music teacher. I wish I was better. I wish I was good at it. I wish it was something I wish I had spent time and energy becoming better at. But like for some reason, teaching music was never something that I was good at, and I think that frustrated me enough that I stopped wanting to do it. But if you have a friend in your life who can show you I can show someone a chord. I'm like, if I can show you some chords, but here's 3 people I know who are good teachers. Call them. Here's a couple chords. Now go call those people that man and that woman are much better at teaching, will be much better at getting you to where you want to be. So I don't know if I would suggest that everyone should just teach themselves first, but I think if you can, I think you should. And I think that you should absolutely, if you think you can pick up a guitar and just learn a few chords, then just do that. Start there. I think that's perfectly, I think, do that. And then like when you start to take lessons, don't stop teaching yourself stuff. Like don't stop playing songs you want to play because the guitar teacher assigns you a different song. Do both. Like, you have time, if you have a good ear and you can just pick up songs by listening, don't, invest time in that skill and try to grow that ability. And my preference is to not shoehorn anyone in their experience and tell people to explore as many options as you can, because what will happen is eventually you'll find out what works for you and then go to that and really work on that type of stuff.
I would add to that when you're saying find what works for you, and then for me, I would also add in what is also fun to you. What do you like, and what? So the word works for you could be fun or whatever you enjoy, because I think I just see it so often when people ask me about guitar, then if they go get lessons, and I feel like I see it on their face. It's not fun to them anymore. Like something happened. And that's like, man, you had the smile going into it, and then now it's changed. Like whatever that path, and for maybe it was just bad luck. All the people that I've encountered like that were people that went to go get lessons before trying to just learn. But I totally see your point of view. If they try to learn at home, and they could have bad results from that too. So it doesn't work for everyone.
I think there's definitely a point where a lot of people hit that wall of, it is hard. Like there are parts of playing guitar that are hard, like that aren't easy. And I don't ever want someone to think that playing guitar is a super easy thing. Like just watching someone get between an E chord and an A chord when they first learn the E and the A chord, whether they're playing it with finger, whether they're barring stuff or not, like just watching someone have to do this over and over again, because when they're trying to switch chords during a song on beat, like that is not, it is not a natural thing to do. Like that is difficult. Most people have, that takes time. Like, and I think for a lot of people, they don't realize that there is a lot on the front end. I think it's the early learning curve with guitar. There's a lot at the front end that if you can just power through that one part that is it's just repetition and doing it over and over again. When you get over that crest, there's a lot of fun on the back end of that crest. You just got to put that work into it. And I see a lot of people who burn out because it's not easy. Like it's just like the most talented people I know in the world who can pick up something and they will fly through stuff super easy. They pick up with no problems. We'll still come back and be like, they'll hit that wall at some point, but like, this thing was hard. Like I just had a hard time learning this thing, and you just have to do it over and over and over again. And if you don't have a lot of initial facility, if you don't just pick up the instrument and start playing, it's that first part that's the hard part. Like getting through that initial, and it was for me too. Like I was 18, I think, when I first picked up guitar, and I was like, I would come out of playing woodwind instruments in high school, and I was like, okay, I want to play guitar now because I want to do some other stuff musically. and that was, it was classical, so it was finger picking and, on a footstool. I was playing like this.
Yeah.
And those first few months of playing guitar were like, okay, I have to relearn how I use my hands and conceive of this music. Now, I was lucky. It wasn't as hard for me as it was for some people. So I got through it and got onto the more fun stuff relatively quickly. But you can see it. Yeah, I can see when people are like A, E, and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, man, I know what you're going through. Like, I promise you, if you just get through it, it gets easier on the other side.
That's fantastic.
I think that.
Oh, go ahead.
I think with when you have a teacher, again, teachers was one of the things I don't think you're entirely wrong about how teachers can kind of feel like they suck the joy out of things, is because they'll tend to have a curriculum. When you go to a teacher, they'll tend to have, this is how I teach people to play guitar. This is the pedagogy that I learned is this. You start here, and then you go here, and you go here. Yeah. And I can understand why for someone who isn't used to that, if you're just coming into it because you want to be a hobby player, that is very daunting. I think it's it can affect you very adversely. And I think there's a lot of people on YouTube now really trying to get past that sort of structured guitar teaching, because it should be more fun. And like, there should be, sometimes I feel like you should attack the guitar first from the fun side and then gear the students into the boring stuff after they've had some of the fun stuff.
Yep.
Pardon me. Because scales are boring. There's no way of making scales fun. They're just something you have to do over and over again. I do them every day. Every time I pick up a guitar, the first thing I do is I play a handful of scales. I pick a couple scales or modes and I play them. And it's never fun. And there are days when I'm really bad and I'm like, I can't do anything right today. And if you're just starting guitar and your entire experience is I can't do it right today, it sucks. Like it is in any instrument, not just guitar. It's a terrible feeling, and it can be kind of, I think, crushing. So I've seen guitar players or guitar teachers who are trying to come at it from a different route. They're like, well, let's try to make it so it's fun first, so you get to see what it's going to be like a little bit. And then later, okay, here's how we're going to expand on that with scales and with more difficult chord progressions and that kind of methodology. Because definitely the classical sort of old school guitar teaching methods can be pretty. I mean, I can see how initially that could really wash someone out real fast.
Yeah.
Playing guitar. And
I think your angle and the explanation of all that is fantastic.